December 1944. Ardennes Forest, Belgium. Freezing fog blankets the hills. Hitler's last desperate gamble, the Ardennes offensive, what we now call the Battle of the Bulge, has exploded across the Allied lines. German panzers smash through thinly held American positions. Thousands of U.S. troops are cut off, surrounded, freezing, running low on everything. At the heart of it all, the small crossroads town of Baston. The 101st Airborne Division, screaming eagles dropped in to hold this vital road hub, are encircled. No supplies, no reinforcements. German demands for surrender met with one legendary word: nuts. But 150 kilometers south, one man refuses to let them die, General George S. Patton. And in the dead of winter, he makes a promise that seems impossible. The Battle of the Bulge began on December 16, 1944. Over 400,000 German troops, 1,400 tanks and assault guns slammed into the Ardennes. The goal? Split the Allies, capture the port of Antwerp, strangle Allied supply lines, and force a negotiated peace. Baston sat at the junction of 7 major roads. Lose it, and the Germans could roll west unimpeded. The 101st Airborne rushed in without winter gear dug in. Temperatures plunged to minus 15 degrees Celsius. Men froze in their foxholes. Ammo dwindled, yet they held. Patton's Third Army, over 250,000 men, was facing east, attacking toward the Saar River. To reach Baston, his entire force had to stop, pivot 90 degrees north, and race through snow-choked roads, destroyed bridges, and enemy territory. Logistics experts said it couldn't be done in less than weeks. Patton said 48 hours. December 19, 1944. Verdun, France. Supreme Allied Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower calls an emergency meeting with his top generals, Omar Bradley, Courtney Hodges, and Patton. The mood is grim. The German breakthrough is 80 kilometers deep. Eisenhower asks, who can counterattack? Bradley and others hesitate. Patton stands up. Maps spread before him. He had anticipated this possibility. His G2 intelligence chief, Colonel Oskar Koch, had warned of a German Ardennes thrust days earlier. Patton's staff had quietly prepared contingency plans. Patton points to the map. I can attack with 3 divisions in 48 hours. The room falls silent. Eisenhower approves. Patton leaves the meeting and immediately phones his chief of staff. Start the pivot, now. But the decisive moment comes shortly after. In a direct phone call to Eisenhower, Patton delivers 4 words that change everything. I can attack now. This wasn't bluster. Behind those words stood meticulous planning. Patton's Third Army staff, led by Brigadier General Halley G. Maddox, had already rerouted convoys, repositioned artillery, and prepared orders. Some units began turning north before formal approval. What followed was one of the most audacious operational maneuvers in military history. Over 100,000 men, some sources say closer to 133,000 vehicles, including tanks, trucks, artillery, had to execute a 90-degree wheel while some units were still in contact with the enemy. Roads were ice sheets, bridges blown, snowstorms blinded drivers. Yet Patton's engineers worked miracles, building pontoon crossings, clearing wrecks, directing traffic in blackout conditions. The 3rd Corps under Major General John Milliken spearheaded the drive. The veteran 4th Armored Division, bloodied from France, led the charge. Men who had fought for months now marched north, many without sleep, through blizzards. Patton was everywhere, visiting command posts, barking orders, pushing divisions forward. He told his staff, "We're going to hit them like hell." By December 22nd, 3 divisions attacked north along a 20-mile front, smashing into the German southern flank. The pivot wasn't just movement, it was aggressive. Patton refused to let the Germans consolidate. Christmas Day, 1944. Inside Baston, the 101st is at breaking point. Supplies arrive only by air, when weather allows. Wounded pile up in cellars. Outside, Patton's 4th Armored fights house to house toward Assenois, southwest of Baston. German resistance is fanatical. Panzerfausts, mines, artillery. December 26th, late afternoon. The lead element, Combat Command B, 4th Armored. The M4 Sherman Cobra King rolls forward, the first tank to punch through. At approximately 1650, it links with the 326th Engineers of the 101st. Cheers erupt. The siege is broken. A corridor opens. Wounded evacuated. Supplies roll in. Major General Maxwell Taylor resumes command. Patton's men had covered the distance, roughly 100 to 150 kilometers depending on starting positions, in days, not weeks. The relief wasn't just tactical, it was symbolic. American resolve had held. Why did Baston matter so much? It wasn't just about saving the 101st. Baston controlled the road network feeding the German advance. If the Germans took it unchallenged, they could push toward the Meuse River and Antwerp, the Allies' main supply port. Capturing Antwerp would have severed Allied logistics. Supplies for millions of troops, fuel, ammo, food would dry up. The war could drag on months longer, costing tens of thousands more lives. By holding and relieving Baston, Patton's pivot denied Hitler that prize. The Bulge was contained. German fuel ran dry. Allied air power returned with clear skies after December 23rd. The offensive collapsed. Patton later wrote it was one of his proudest moments. Not glory for himself, but salvation for his men. Patton's pivot is studied in war colleges worldwide. An army on the move, pivoting mid-campaign in winter, against all odds. His staff's pre-planning, his personal drive, the sheer willpower of his soldiers, it turned potential disaster into victory. The Battle of the Bulge cost the U.S. nearly 90,000 casualties, dead, wounded, missing, but the Germans lost far more. Irreplaceable tanks, men, momentum. The Reich's last offensive failed. Patton himself said, "Compared to this, Gettysburg was a mere scrimmage." Yet he gave credit where due, to the paratroopers who held, to the tankers who broke through, to the logisticians who made the impossible possible. Today, Baston remembers. Monuments stand. Veteran stories live on. And that phone call, "I can attack now," echoes as one of the boldest decisions of the war. In the frozen hell of the Ardennes, courage wasn't just holding a line, it was daring to move an army when everything said stay. George Patton did the impossible, and because he did, the Allies won. Thanks for watching. If you want more untold stories from WWII, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop in the comments, what's your favorite Patton moment? Until next time, keep history alive.